I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the megatrend that I worked on this year, but it was the one with the dark card and the skull, the skull on it. It's the one about climate change and sustainability. It's not the most uplifting of topics at the moment, but there are some hard truths that the travel industry is having to face right now. So we just wanted to take some time to talk about those and to unpack them and to just talk about what we're seeing at Skift. So we're going to try a Mythbusters. So I'm going to read out a statement or a question, and you'll be able to vote live on Slido, and you can use the QR code on the screens over there to take part. And we're just going to see what is the room thinking right now. So let's go. Let's try it. So the first one that is about to come up on the screen is travelers won't pay a sustainability premium, full stop, fact or fiction. So this is always the big debate. We hear a lot of CEOs say that, when we offer it, people don't want to pay it. It's a very common question that comes up. And so if you were a consumer and you're about to book, if there was a more sustainable option and it's more expensive, will they pick it or will they go for the one that's not as expensive? So let's see, 59% fact, 40% fiction. Interesting. So you're right. Sustainability is often right at the bottom of the list. Things like comfort, location, cost, it's always coming higher in our data that we've seen from Skift research. But we have seen signs that there is a growing willingness from some people in some regions that want to pay a bit more to have a more sustainable stay, especially China and India. And also in the United States, we found that over the last few years, there's been a rise in the number of people who are interested. It's gone up between 24 and 25 by around 10% to around 42%. So let's move on. Carbon offsets are greenwashing theatre. Fact or fiction? So there was a time, and you can still do this, where when you're booking or planning a trip, you can tick a box to make your trip green for a few pounds or dollars, often. So fact, 61%, fiction, 39%. Oh wait, sorry, is that the last one? Yeah. We just got to wait for the next one to come up. So let's see how we're doing. 81% fact. Thank you very much. So again, you are correct. We've got a very good room here. So offsets we found at Skift are right at the bottom of the list again. If a customer was to be faced with choices on how to make their trip more sustainable, offsets are right at the bottom of the list, just above not doing anything. They'd rather do things like choose a non-stop flight, because often paying a little bit more for a non-stop flight has less emissions because you don't have to land and take off twice, which is very energy intensive, as we all know. So it just seems like people want to do things that are more in their control from that data. And a recent review of the carbon offset market found that 16% of carbon offsets have not really done that much in terms of reducing emissions. But what we have seen is that there's a growing trend in companies and consumers wanting super high quality ones. So restoring native forests and things like that, starting from scratch and trying to add something new in the carbon offset world. So let's move on to the next one. SAF will never scale beyond virtue signaling. Fact or fiction? So we're around 58% fact, 43% fiction. SAF is sustainable aviation fuel, the green fuel alternative that the aviation industry is using or trying to use instead of fossil fuels. So we were sold a dream that the fuel alternative would be great and it will mean we can keep flying and we can decarbonize aviation at the same time. But it's really, really struggling to take off. SAF is last year, it was 0.6% of all jet fuel. And we've seen that SAF projects where companies are investing to build a new plant to make it, more are being cancelled than being built. And things are just really struggling to scale there. But there is a big push for newer planes. So newer planes can be 25% better. They can use 25% less emissions than the older planes that we have. And air traffic management as well can help. Load factors. And we might even see short-haul battery planes in the next few years for short-haul flights. So let's move on to the next one. Travel's climate footprint is negligible. Fact or fiction? These votes come in really fast, which is great. So fiction, 66%, 67%, 69%. Fact, 31%, roughly. Yeah, fiction. If you compare to other sectors, there are other sectors that are worse than the travel industry. It's estimated to be about 9% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. But demand and growth for travel is very, very high. People just want to travel, and it's outpacing other sectors by 2 times. And it's projected to just keep outpacing for the next few decades. If you take the UK, for example, aviation is projected to be 25% of our emissions in the next 10 years. So how is the world going to look at travel in 10, 20 years? And on to the next one, my favorite. Green hotels are more expensive to build. Fact or fiction? So we're getting around 53% fact, 47% fiction. Fiction. Yes, up front, it can cost a bit more. We found there's so many different studies and there's so much research, but generally it's probably around 2% more to build a green hotel. Think solar panels, heat pumps, amazing AI, food waste systems, super tight buildings that are really efficient and not leaking out energy. But operationally, over a year or more, there's data that shows that hotels can save up to 20% a year. This is a hotel on the south coast of England in Exeter. Their energy bill came down from £300,000 a year to £100,000 a year. They've got solar panels built into the walls, and they've got heat pumps. They've got an electric kitchen, and the building was built using recycled materials. And that is a huge drop in their energy bill. And there's a corporate lodging payment system called HRS that found that more energy efficient hotels are cutting their costs quicker than others. So, what have we got? Sustainable stays mean higher rack rates for guests. So we're moving on a bit. Think of that hotel, that green hotel with the solar panels and the heat pumps. We were getting 74% fiction, 26% fact. Fiction, yes. Excellent. We found that things like the algorithm, the timing, how soon you want to travel and book, the facilities and the location are the factors that are changing the price of your nightly stay. If you take a city centre like Manchester, here we've got an example. We've got Radisson Hotel, Manchester City Centre, a verified net zero hotel. It operates on 100% renewable energy, and they've tried to reduce their emissions through their supply chains coming into the hotel, food, how they deal with their laundry and their water use. And the price is not that different from similar hotels in the area, also in the city centre. And I've spoken to Radisson about this, and I've asked them, have you incentivized the price in any way to try and get people to book? And they said, no, this, it's not really that different from how we would operate any of our other hotels. That's just the price. And we're seeing this pattern elsewhere as well, in other regions around the world where there are low carbon hotels. We are seeing that the pricing is not really that different from their counterparts in the area. And the last one coming up, 2050 net zero pledges are just expensive PR. Fiction or fact? Oh, very close. Oh, 50-50. 55% fact, 44% fiction. I thought it was going to be fiction at one point, but then it changed. But we've gone with fiction because travel is a global industry. Whether one country is rolling back on something or another country is bringing in extra strong climate laws, if you're a global company, you need to follow the regulations in the different regions and the different countries. And there are many countries that have net zero rules and laws, and there are also aviation mandates on SAF use, which we discussed earlier. China are about to bring in a SAF mandate as well. So even if some countries roll back or the policies change, companies need to be across and follow the same rules, the rules that they need to follow in the countries where they operate. So just to sum up, there are a few signals and things that we are seeing in the travel sector around climate change. And maybe the discussion needs to change a little bit and rethought. Maybe it's clear to me that decarbonizing a business has to come with a cost incentive. It has to be a win-win. So maybe we need to look at the things that are working and that are helping to make and bring costs down and make stays more comfortable for people, and maybe are across some of the regulations and the different regulations we're seeing around the world.